Hello students, hope all of you are good. In the last video we have seen the phylum Annelida. Hope all of you have watched the video and made it the notes. So today we are going to start another phylum. The next phylum after Annelida is Arthropoda. Okay, so this Arthropoda, this phylum is going to be large, so we will divide this video in two parts. So first part will start now. See, this phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum, which include this phylum Arthropoda include around 9 lakhs of species, and that will include more than 2/3 of the species. Okay, so that phylum Arthropoda, which include actually those species, 9 lakhs of species, which is even more than 2/3 of the whole animals in the animal kingdom. Okay, remember that. Now a question will appear that why this phylum can be the largest phylum. Okay, so what may be the reason that in the phylum Arthropoda they are going to have a very thick outer exoskeleton. Okay, and that exoskeleton is made up of a component that is chitin. Okay, so this is actually a homopolysaccharide. Okay, remember this is a homopolysaccharide. Okay, this chitin actually develop their exoskeleton. Okay, remember that this is the exoskeleton. So if you see in case of cockroach, what happened in case of cockroach? Their exoskeleton is going to have the chitin. Okay, now this exoskeleton will help this arthropoda, this different varieties of species, to live in relatively dry environment. So this exoskeleton will have the advantages as well as disadvantages. So what are those advantages? Okay, let us see what are actually the advantages, and after that we'll see the disadvantages also. So what are the advantages? First of all, this exoskeleton will help this organism in protection of the visceral organs. Okay, that means it is going to be protected. The visceral organs, the head, the thorax region, that will be protected by this exoskeleton. And the second very important advantage is that will prevent water loss. Okay, remember that this organism can survive in desert also. They can survive in relatively dry environment. Up to Annelida, what we have seen, those annelids like earthworm, they can be terrestrial, but they can survive only in the moist media. Okay. Suppose in the garden you have seen the earthworm. Now in whenever suppose they are above the soil and there is a heavy sunlight, then what happen? The earthworms dies. Okay, and why the earthworm die? Because their physiology will not able to make this organism survive in that dry sunny environment. But this is not happening in case of arthropod. So what happens in arthropod? They can survive in relatively dry environment because of this thick outer exoskeleton. So what are they? These are the advantages, right? But yes, this organism, due to this exoskeleton, will also have some disadvantages too. Okay, so what are the disadvantages? See, this chitin is just made up of a biomolecule carbohydrate. Okay, now this will cover this organism, right? Now, if the organism suppose is of this much size and it is covered by this protective layer, then is it possible that organism can grow in size if it is covered by this exoskeleton? No. So what happened? This organism arthropod will grow in size, but what happened? This thick outer exoskeleton will not help in growth. They will prevent growth. Okay, they will restrict the growth. So what's happened? This is one type of disadvantage. That means it will prevent growth. So this is the disadvantage. So as this organism have this thick outer exoskeleton, suppose, then what will happen? This organism will not able to grow. but this advantages are also here. So how is it possible that this organism can overcome that disadvantage? So what happened? They have a phenomenon. This phenomenon is molting. Okay, so this phenomenon is molting or ecdysis, by which this organism can actually shed their outer exoskeleton. They remove their outer skeleton and they will grow in size, and whenever they completely attain their growth, then once again the outermost epidermal layer, they will produce this chitin and they will able to develop once again this exoskeleton. Okay, remember that. So to prevent, actually to overcome that disadvantage, that it is restricting the growth, so that's why the arthropods undergo the process of molting or ecdysis. And why it is known as ecdysis? Because in the process of molting, they will actually help by one very important hormone, and that hormone is ecdysone hormone. Okay, so this ecdysone hormone will help in the molting process, so that their outer earlier exoskeleton can shed, they can grow or they can attain growth, and after that once again whenever they complete their growth, then once again it will form another exoskeleton. Okay, remember that, this is important. Now whenever it comes to the chitin, what is that main component of carbohydrate which forms this chitin? So this chitin is actually made up of N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay, so remember just the word, this is made up of the unit, that is N-acetyl glucosamine, which will form this chitin, and this chitin is the exoskeleton. So this chitin or that exoskeleton that actually protects the body. Suppose you have taken the example of cockroach. So this cockroach, that chitin will form plates. Okay, and those plates, they are known as sclerites. Understand? So these are known as sclerites. So in this organism, how many such sclerites are present, or what those sclerites known as? See, dorsally they are going to have one sclerite. Okay, and this is known as tergum. Okay, next one, this is the ventral sclerite. Okay, this is known as sternum. And on the lateral side, see, suppose this is a cockroach, this is dorsal side which is facing the upper surface, which is facing the soil, that will be the ventral surface. So that ventral surface which is facing the soil, there, that's that sclerite, this is known as sternum. Above that they are going to have tergum. On the lateral sides, what is present? Okay, so on the lateral side they are going to have another sclerite, and that sclerite is known as pleura. Okay, remember that. So they are going to have dorsal tergum, ventral sternum, and lateral pleura. Now how is it that lateral pleura can attach to the tergum or the sternum? This is by one membrane. This is known as arthropodial membrane. So this arthropodial membrane will help attaching the sclerites to each other. Okay, so these things only you have to remember, that why this phylum Arthropoda can be a successful survivor and can become the largest phylum. Okay, so why this is the largest phylum? The reason is this organism will have this thick outer exoskeleton which is made up of the chitin carbohydrate, which is a homopolysaccharide. Homopolysaccharide means it is a polysaccharide made up of only one unit. And what is that unit? That is N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay, advantages and disadvantages we have seen. To overcome the disadvantage, what they are going to have, a process by which they will shed their exoskeleton and can attain growth once again. What is that? That is molting or ecdysis. process. Okay, remember these things, important. Come to the meaning of arthropoda. What is the meaning of arthropoda? Arthro means joints, okay, and poda means leg. Okay, so in case of this organism, they are going to have legs, and those legs, they are going to have the joints. So their legs are going to have jointed appendages. Okay, so their legs are like this. Suppose this is one segment, then this is another segment, then third segment, then after that they will have small segments. So this organism, the phylum Arthropoda, means this organism's legs or their locomotory organ, they divided by some jointed appendages. Okay, so those appendages I can show here. This is the segment, this is known as coxa, then femur, tibia. This type of segments, they are present. We will see in detail whenever we will study a different chapter. Whenever we will come to the chapter structural organization in animal, we will see in detail. So first of all, let us move to the general characteristics. What are the general characters? Okay, so first of all, in the general characters, first thing we should know that what is the habit and habitat. Okay, so in this group of animals, see, this organism can be terrestrial, this can be marine, this can be freshwater, this can be aerial also. Okay, so for the first time another habitat is added, that is the aerial, who can fly on the air. Okay, so now this organism can have all the habitats. What are they? They can be terrestrial. Okay, they can be aquatic. Aquatic means this can be both freshwatered and marine watered. Okay, these are both terrestrial, aquatic as well as aerial. That means they can survive now in they can fly. Yes, they will fall at one period of time, because it is not possible that always they will fly. They will fall, but yes, aerial type of habitat, this is also been seen. Now for the first time they have developed wings also, because of what, they can fly. Like you can see in case of mosquito, butterfly, housefly, mayfly, in those organisms they are going to have the wings, and because of what, it can provide flying, or they can have the aerial mode of habitat. Now this organism habits, that can be vegetarian, that means they can feed on the grasses. They can be carnivorous also, that means they can take the animal tissue. Now this organism can be they can have the other type of characteristics, like they can be free living, they can be parasite also, they can be ectoparasite, as well as they can live inside. And another characteristics, like they can live in one or solitary, or they can be colonial too. That means it can live in colonies. Like now already there is a thing that is happening around, that is the grasshopper, or suppose you can see locust. So locust is a gregarious animal, isn't that? Gregarious animal means they live in colony, and whenever they live in the colony, they come to that land and take the whole crop from the field, and they run. Okay, so they are gregarious organisms who live in the colony but do not follow the social organization or social rule. Like this way we can see honeybee, they are the social animal. Okay, who live in the colony, who have divisions of labor, who live in a rule. So this type of habit and habitat that can be seen. Now after that come to the symmetry. So all this organism will have what type of symmetry? They are going to have bilateral symmetry. Remember that. Next one, the next characteristics about their germ layer. So how many germ layers are present? Without any exception, all of them, they are triploblastic. So all organisms, they are triploblastic. If the germ layer, that is triploblastic, then what about the coeloms? Do the coelom present? Yes, coelom is present. and they are eucoelomate, or truly they are coelomate animal. And under the coelomate animal, remember I told you that there are two conditions present. One is schizocoelomate and another is enterocoelomate. Yes, in this organism they are schizocoelomate. Okay, next characteristics about their level of organization. So what type of level of organization is seen? See, in the arthropods, they have well developed organ system. So now level of organization is organ system level of organization. Remember that. Next characteristic, see, in this organism, will you see segmentation? Yes, this organism will have segmentation. Truly, these organisms are segmented. And yes, this organism will have only the external segments. You can see in case of phylum Annelida, what we have seen, annellates, they are going to have both external as well as internal segmentation. But what happened in case of the arthropoda, they will have only the external segmentation. Okay, remember that. So these are the general characteristics. So the habitat told you, symmetry, germ layer, coelom, level of organization, segmentation. These are the general characteristics. Now let me tell you some important points that in case of this organism, if they have the legs, okay, if it comes to their movement or their locomotory organ, for movement and locomotion, what they are going to develop? They will develop the legs and the wings. Okay, legs and wings are been developed. Now, if it comes to the legs, some of the organism will have 3 pairs of legs. Some of the organism will have 4 pairs of legs. Some of the organism will have 5 pairs of legs. So just remember, it's an easy way you can remember 3, 4, 5 ISP. That means now 3 pairs of legs, they are found in the insects. Okay, 4 pairs of legs, they are present in the spiders. Okay, and 5 pairs of legs, they are present in the prawn. Okay, so insects and spiders, what type of animal they are? They are terrestrial animal. If it comes to prawn, they are aquatic animal. Okay, so these are the general characteristics. Okay, now after that come to their important characteristics if it about their body plan. Okay, so what type of body plan they will have? They will have tube within tube body plan. So they are going to have tube within tube body plan. And if it comes to their another characteristics, that they are prostomic. Prostomic means this organism develop in the embryonic state, first of all mouth, and then they will form the anus. Okay, so this characteristics is prostomic characteristics. Now come to their body form. Okay, so if it comes to their body form, remember one point is going to be important, that this whole arthropods, they are divided into 3 parts. Okay, so if you see this arthropods, they are going to have 3 segments. Distinct segments it will be present. Okay, so their body is divided into head, their body is divided into next segment, next part actually, this is thorax, and the last one is abdomen. So in the body form you can have the body is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. Okay, this is general in case of the insects. Okay, like if you see cockroach, if you see ants, these organisms will going to have the 3 body parts. The body is divided into 3 parts: head, thorax and abdomen. But if you see one species, that is king crab. Okay, remember one thing I'm telling you, that in case of king crab, okay, king crab, or this scientific name is Limulus. Okay, remember Limulus is a living fossil. Now what is living fossil? Okay, let me tell you first of all, in the body form of Limulus, this Limulus will have only 2 body parts. What are they? One is, see, they are going to have the fused head and thorax. So that's why we will call this is as the cephalothorax. So they are going to have cephalothorax and the abdomen. So this cephalothorax and abdomen that can be present also in case of prawns. Okay. So remember that in case of the body form, the arthropods, either they can be divided into head, thorax and abdomen, and also we can call in some other groups like crustacea. I will tell you what is crustacea. But for now, just remember their body can also be divided into two parts. One is undifferentiated head and thorax. Together we will call this as the cephalothorax and the abdomen. Now come to this living fossil part. Now what is living fossil? Living fossil means those organisms from the time of origin is not evolving or not adapting and have the same physical appearance and morphological and physiological characteristics. Till now, this is known as living fossil. Now, for your better understanding, I would like to tell you that if you see in case of human is adapting, evolving from the apes. Okay, earlier the ape of human, that apes actually had thick fur growth. Okay, they were tetrapodal also. Isn't that gradually those four-footed animals start to have erect posture and they become bipedal, or they start to move on two legs. And gradually what happened, the fur growth will start to decrease, then the skeleton, the skull was developed. So in case of us, what happened, we're evolving from the time to time. Okay, but what happened in case of lemurus? Lemurus, a million years ago, whenever it was originated for the first time on the earth, it has the same structure now also. Okay, so that's why the organism which is not changing its morphological characteristics and have the same structure right from the origin till now is known as the living fossil. Okay, remember that. So these are all about the general characteristics. In the next video, we will see some physiological characteristics also. So this is just the outer view. Hope you have understood and remember all those things. So that's all about. Thank you.